Well, Squawky squawks a lot. Sassafras girl. Anyways, I'm not bound by your judgments. I'm not defined by your words or assumptions. The more time that goes on, the more I listen to your explanations. I see now you know and understand almost nothing. You claim to be educated. You claim to know me. You claim to be open, yet you're not receiving me. You think you have the blueprint, the data, the right, and the seen the light, but you have nothing. Your money makes you poor, and your heart and head make you dead. You think you know pain or gain, or that you can control what lies ahead, or can change what is behind. You think you can ride the fence or claim to make amends. You claim to be helping or guiding or protecting. You're all guilty of fraud and dirty deeds and coding the broken. But that's another thing. You see a bruise or a scar, a rape or a rope or the dark, and think that you know what the damage is or how it can be or not be handled. But all you show is none are righteous, and all doing the work of the devil's church, both heaven and earth. You thought me asking why meant I needed or wanted closure or some answers for myself, but missed the point that when you love, you try to understand. And Father, forgive me, but even you lost the key to the Spirit and what holy or eternal means. You're still sitting in judgments in a place of impure righteousness because you forgot to be above is to rule with true love or what is just is that's why you came down to walk with man, to learn, to see, to understand, but you didn't and still don't, because even on earth you brought the ego of your throne. I'm not condemning you or saying I know what's best, but I won't be told I can't come home until I just accept. You see, my home is everywhere I am, and my hope you cannot fathom. My love and forgiveness isn't yours to manage. My inheritance, my riches, my family, and your kingdom. You seem to not realize I have and always will have them. You want to pretend that somehow the past is done and the present is something to dictate or a maze to find your way out of. You want us to rejoice in being used by the gods, and I mean the gods, not God. But the joy I have and always did, and my love for you is without end, for sure. But be it heaven, hell, or any earth, you're missing everything about me or what's best. Everyone wants a yes man, but everyone needs someone to take a stand. Remember, the living part of a living God means that you can have a flawed flesh. We need to practice the humility of learning what we expect from others. That's how you will win the war and return the tribes abound. To find the lost and to gain control, you must admit that you and I, Father, and the gods and angels, saints and prophets, CEOs, generals, priests, sergeants, teachers, mothers, fathers, we may know a lot, but not all. And that's because the gift of free will, that's the beauty of mistakes and errors and flaws. That's how you perfect, improvise, adapt, and overcome by accountability, by understanding, by real, true love. Because only when we remove the ego, embrace the shadow, and humility is how we become the real divine and the right to rule above and below by walking the truth, not law or as a fraud. Forgiving others and giving us the grace, forgiving ourselves and giving us the grace that we so easily to give to all. Dot, 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 dot. So what I mean by this is not nothing blasphemous, which you have to understand. And again, God is amazing, right? Okay. God is amazing, but he made sin and he made the fall. But there was a time, and again, this is nothing bad about him. This is nothing downplaying God at all, but there was a veil. There was a veil because of the fall, because so much time this was the devil's domain. So again, there was a lot of tricks and traps and tomfoolery, smoke and mirrors and illusions and corruption, even in the highest parts. But again, sometimes even the light can get lost in the dark, but not always, because it's amazing, right? So again, and again, I'm not downplaying God, because again, this is what you have to understand. The churches have corrupted, the music have corrupted, the food is corrupted, the people has corrupted. The weight of the world has been so heavy. And even the answers that were left right in front of us, like the map, the compass. I love how Cat Williams, he rocks this big blingy compass, and because he knows. So, and the only way to know, and again, I had made a video, I don't know if it's on this channel or my other channel, Brianna Chooses Love, could have even been on TikTok or Facebook, Legacy of the Lioness or Ink Oracle. Um, But something about the compass and how that maybe we were all lost because the directions, you have to understand the pole, the science of it, the poles shift, right? And again, they want to keep us lost. So again, what if the compass rose that we think like north, south, east, west is, what if it was flipped and inverted? They perverted and inverted and made everything backwards. Or this is the upside down. I want to love you in the upside down. Right? As above, so below. And I made a drawing before about like this world and how the funneling and the divine. And if you understand too a little bit about, this is what, again, this is what God is. God is so great because even the more you know, the more you understand. The only thing you can understand, I think it was Einstein or Copernicus or Socrates, I don't know, one of these, or maybe Nietzsche, one of the greats, right? What they said too, or Shakespeare, who knows? But they're all great guys. Good job. I love them. They taught us so much. But again, all we can know every time is that we know nothing. We know nothing. But, and again, there's so many dividers in the separation and in the lost in translation and all these things. But I know definitely Cat Williams definitely be in the Book of Mormon because again, and I don't mean the Book of Mormon like the chapter, I mean like the book. And again, but this is what you have to understand about the Bibles and the churches. Now God's word, this is something too that people misunderstand about the law of Moses or the Bible or the commandments. I made a video before about it before, how it's like a guide or but again, or the law, but the law was wiped out too with the cross. And because of the cross, the war's already won. And again, even though, and again, God said, like, this is his throne, this is the devil's domain. So and again, I like talked to different churches and was like, wouldn't it be, what if the bad guy isn't the bad guy? What if the good guy of the Bible, like, is the real bad guy? What if it's wrong? Again, because wasn't here, so, and man makes the Bibles and he prints it out. So again, wouldn't it? And again, if you know like alibis and criminal activities, and the best way to hide something is in plain sight, and again, a lot of the ways to discredit something is to call it a conspiracy. And I used to piss off a lot of churches about this, and it makes me so mad because now that I know what I know too. And like when asking questions about the tree and things like this too, there was a lot of misunderstanding about the tree, the that was in Eden, and how and everybody was like, one time I was like taken somewhere and was asked to ask a question to some religious somebody, and it was like, well, again, and I used to say like, Lucifer gave us free will. Because, and again, they misunderstood what I was saying. They like to pervert it and corrupt it and make it blasphemous. But again, you have to understand that God made Lucifer. God made Lucifer. So again, to plant the tree, to do all this, this was all God's orchestration. And he was like, oh, that's a good, and I was like, why would he give us this tree if he didn't want us to eat from it? And he's like, oh, that's a good question. I heard it once from a serpent. And there was another time I went out and was trying to explain things to people, because again, these people like to say, and it was so funny too, because like for a long time I didn't understand even the Holy Trinity. Like I thought, and it wasn't until I got into like quantum computing. She's a spicy bird, doesn't want me to talk about this stuff. Well, I'm sorry, Linda. Tell people what you did in real life and why you're a bird now. Yeah, tell them. But anyway, yeah. Anywho, but again, I don't know what I was saying. I was saying something about a glove. Okay, so a glove is a helpful thing, right? But a glove without a hand is useless. So again, God's divine spark, our spirit in our inner body, is what we are the glove. We are, you, and but we are made of the dirt. And so this is the thing too, that like sometimes people like to stay in the dirt. They like to dirty deeds done cheap. They like to do. But this is the thing too. You have to. This is people get everything all misunderstood about what is good and what is bad, because again, Jesus said, "Don't call the things that I say are clean unclean." So you have to embrace the shadow. You have to embrace the dirt. Came from the dirt, but you have to choose to not wallow in it. To not, like the Indians say, there's two wolves. Which one do you feed? Which one do you let out? Again. So again, just like God, Mother Nature, all of that, they have some fucking wrathful power and anger. There's righteous anger. There's righteous savagery. Because sometimes you just have to speak a language that people will understand, and there's ramifications and repercussions. Now again, I always just say, like, an eye for an eye make the world blind. And my daughter said, she was like, "Fucking, then we're all gonna be blind then." And again, and I could see her point for a minute, but again, I thought about it, and part of me was like, I don't like it, because even now too, I'm like, I don't want bad things for people. I just can't. I just don't have it in me to want. But in the end of things, this is what God means with that. If you want violence, you will beget violence. If you want pestilence, you're gonna get it. If you want famine and poverty and anguish and peril, then you will get it. You are fooling no one. It was just a matter of time. And so again, you have to embrace the shadow. You have to understand that between the light and the dark, there's one is not good and one is not bad, because it's all part of a union. It's all part of like the yin and yang, the as above so below. It's all, God created everything. He takes accountability. Even in my poem, when I was like, you weren't being accountable for this, that you could have a flaw. I misspoke, because I was thinking, and I wrote this before I was introduced to the Book of Mormon, which is another thing that really grinds my gears, because so many years I tried to find churches and people to talk to, and I even went out and tried to get the Quran. I tried to get nobody from the Mormon church. They used to come to my house every week, and they never brought me a Bible from their church, their beliefs, their covenants, and doctrines, their pearl of a great price. They never talked to me about this. They literally seen me bruised and bleeding, hungry and homeless. Never once did they offer help. Never once. When I was going through some terrible things, abuse, and my kids being kidnapped, the Jehovah Witness, I asked for help. I asked for help from the police, the Catholic Church, the Christian Church. I tried to talk to all of them. But this is the thing. God is not in the churches. He's in your heart. This is what always got me through. Even when I went through shit with my kids, or with the police, or with my neighbors, or with the churches, or relationships, even bad days. Like, I would be always the savior, right? I would go around. It's so funny, because all these people they love to hate Brie. But I'm the first one they turn to every time. Even when I didn't have cars, I would be the one that I'd somehow find people gas. I'd walk miles and miles and miles to help people. And again, I'd fucking move mountains for people that wouldn't jump over a mud puddle for me. And again, I wouldn't change it for nothing. And this is what is so weird. And so another thing real quick, that all the people that I've met throughout my life, all my family, whether it be birth family, karmic family, relationships, soulmates, fake flames, I forgive you all. I forgive you all. I'm so grateful for it all. Even to God, even to the devil. First of all, I'll gladly take it so that somebody else doesn't have to, or so that because sometimes you could lose because you're the prize. Sometimes, and this is another thing, you have to be too blessed to be stressed. Like, appreciate the little things. Like, people are always like, woe is me. Like you are. I got a nail in my tail. I live in a house that sticks. At least you have a house. At least you have a tail. Like, people are so weird that they take everything for granted. But God says what is taken for granted will be taken away. And again, those churches are going to crumble. You cults, your covens, your fucking fake families, your gangs, it's all fallen. It's not like I said. It's because of the cross. It's not if, it's when, and the time is fucking now.